my final assessment, I want to share with what I plan on doing. So for this, I plan on making it essentially a research project that will end in a presentation. I took junior high social studies, Civil War, and the learning standard is with the system develop a research plan, identify appropriate resources for investigating social studies topics, and create a research product which applies an aspect of American history prior to 1870 to its period. So I want to do this activity twice. The first time I won't do the whole thing. I'll just do parts. Because I want to get a formative assessment of what they already know. And then I want to do it again for a summative assessment. Again, the first time I won't do the whole thing. I want to be able to do it in 10 to 15 minutes. And the last time I will do it over a week or so, because to be honest, they'll for probably a week, the whole school week to do it. For my initial engagement, I'll use a video entitled How to Start a History Inquiry, Developing Great Questions. This video goes over why it's important to inquire about history, the mindset to have about history when you're asking questions like this, and essentially how to start a research plan and the importance of it. So I think it'll be important for them because it'll show them why this is important, what they're doing is relevant and important. For my first activity, I called it the inquiry because that's essentially what it is. They'll be using an inquiry lens, inquiry lens, developing compelling questions, and determine helpful resources and consider multiple points of view to represent the resources. So essentially what they're going to be doing is they're going to fill out an inquiry, which is essentially questions that connect historical events to modern day events. They will be paired up in groups of probably 2 or 3 groups, because at the end I don't want the presentation to take 3 days. I want them to do it within 1 day. So they'll all brainstorm ideas of like modern day issues, and they'll tie them back to these historical events. For this part, I provided a couple different links of the issues that were in place then. One, slavery caused the catalyst of the war, and the American Civil War, a collection of free online primary sources. Both of these are more starting points for them than anything, because I want them to be able to have a point to jump off of. I will also provide with them example inquiry questions to show what the case look like. I don't have these listed on because these are something that I would make, and I didn't have them in yet. So they'll be something that I use in this project. The second part that I have is called detective work. I called it this because that's exactly what it is, detective work. Determining the credibility and bias of primary and secondary sources. So essentially what they're going to be doing is they're going to be filling out what is called a CRAB test to evaluate the resources that they have chosen. And this will highlight the relevance of these sources to their question. So if you don't know, CRAB is currency, when was it published, was it recent enough, why or why not, relevant, is the information related to my question, authority, who is the author, accuracy, is the source supported by evidence, and is the author's purpose useless. By answering all of these, they will essentially confirm or deny whether or not they should use that source. So for each resource that they use in their final project, their paper, which is it's going to be a paper and a presentation, they will submit one of these after they fill it out. It'll be submitted separately from the paper. So they'll do it in class and then they'll submit it after class period. And if they can't, then I'll work something out with them. Essentially, this will be help them tie together better their resources to the modern day issue. So for the third part, I called it make your point. And it's construct arguments using evidence from multiple sources. So essentially what this one is writing the paper. They will draft a thesis that they will submit upon completion. In this, they will draft their own claims based on the findings that they gained from their previous learning stage. So they'll take the sources that they have, that they now know are reliable because of this test, and they will put them in a paper that ties them to the modern day event that they chose in the first learning station. So essentially tying the first two learning stations together. And then they will turn in this craft form to me after it's done. So that is the between step. They would have already turned in the craft form at me at that point. So then I gave them the same resources again. Essentially, I used the same resources the entire time because I think that it's important for them to have those resources that they can use to find more resources, hopefully. So they're going to tie them together and they're going to make that into a paper on how they connect. For the fourth one, they present the summary of research findings in visual, oral, or written. So for this one, they'll do visual at first because this is not the presentation yet. That'll be the final. This is making the presentation. So they're going to make a PowerPoint or a poster board or whatever they want to make the play for all I care. That would be interesting, but they can do any of those things and then they'll present it on the final day. Like I said before, they'll be in groups. So that it doesn't take us 3 days to get through all, however many students there are. There could be 30, could be 40, who knows? Could be any of them. They'll put together everything that they've researched in the previous station. So their sources, they'll put those in there. Now, the way that I want to do this is each student will have written their own paper. So each student will turn in their own paper. What I want them to do is put all their research in one. So if somebody has the source here that ties this event, that'll be in there. And each one will present their own topic. So there will be many different topics. One PowerPoint could be on how the civil rights movement happened or something like that. And then another one could be the same sort of thing of what moves, what rights we have now. So by doing this, I think that it'll help them realize just the importance of studying history, of how it can affect us now, even if it happened years ago. So that's what I want to do for my final project. I think that it'll be interesting to see what they would come up with, what resources they would have, and I think it'll be educational for them just to know how these events can directly affect us, whether they happened 1,000 years ago or they happened yesterday.